So Bryan Kohberger's lawyer, Ann Taylor, has a lot to say about the media in a new filing that seeks to keep the gag order in place, and she's seeking to keep people quiet. As we discussed in a prior video, Bryan Kohberger's lawyer, Ann C. Taylor, might have no conflict in representing Bryan as the infamous defendant in the Idaho 4 case, but she does have a big problem with the media and reporters showing up at her office with their zoom lenses taking photos of employees through the window. So she's representing the man who is accused of taking 4 young beautiful souls off the planet from the University of Idaho. But her main problem now is with journalists. So much so that Attorney Taylor has filed a new and secret motion to keep people quiet. We'll see what the judge says about this one. The Kootenai County Public Defender, who is Taylor, is fighting to keep that gag order in place while the media is over here getting together, fighting against that gag order that they say is too broad and violates our First Amendment rights. According to KXLY out of Spokane, Washington, there is a new filing in this famous case known as the State of Idaho versus Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Apparently, this must be one of those secret or sealed or not yet made public motions that you can't find yet on the website, the Cases of Interest Idaho public government website that has been updating us with motions every Friday. Well, obviously, some people are getting access, some journalists, like KXLY, like Ashley Banfield with News Nation, they are getting access to motions somehow that are letting us know what's happening behind the scenes, such as the private meeting between the judge and Ann Taylor deciding that there was no conflict with her representing Kohberger. But in this new filing, Attorney Taylor is pointing to how bold and aggressive some journalists are in terms of showing up at her office, taking photos through the windows, and even calling, tying up the phone lines, some supposedly going so far as to entering the office and refusing to leave until they speak with an attorney. I wonder who's doing this. Is it TMZ? Is it Daily Mail? They have those great long photo lenses. We know Daily Mail gets the best photos, and TMZ. But Attorney Taylor is complaining that reporters are calling, tying up the same phone lines that are used by other clients trying to contact their attorneys. Taylor wrote this in her filing, quote, "Mr. Kohberger's life depends on this system remaining intact. Some people who believe Bryan is guilty of taking the 4 lives of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez off the earth, quite hypocritical." Obviously, Attorney Taylor is referring to the fact that Kohberger could indeed face the death penalty. So she wants the system to remain intact and not experience problems that could happen due to leaks. With her defending Kohberger, of course, she's worried about his life. Quote, "He must be permitted to fight for it if this court decides to consider the media's petition." So, of course, it's the job of journalists to bring the latest happenings, the truth, everything going on with the court system in this case and other criminal cases. It's their job to bring it to the public, tell the truth about what's happening. But when cases grow this popular, you will find instances of lawyers not wanting cops to talk to the press, not wanting anyone to talk to the press, even attempting to gag journalists, which could be good and could be bad in certain instances. If there's an instance, for example, where a reporter discovered the type of weapon a person used in a case and only the police and the perpetrator knew that information, I could see why it would be beneficial for that particular reporter to be gagged, because if the police are still trying to make their case, you don't want the general public knowing things that only the perpetrator would know. But if certain gag orders are too broad-reaching, I don't agree with that. It's the public's right to know what's happening in cases like this. Taylor continued, quote, "In the short time before the original gag order was entered, Mr. Kohberger's attorneys became known to the press, and their office was immediately besieged by reporters." I'm sure they were just doing their job, of course. That's the job. Find out what's going on with the case, including Kohberger's attorneys. Quote, members took pictures of employees through windows, entered the office, and refused to leave without meeting with attorneys, and regularly called the office on the same line necessary for its clients to reach their attorneys. Okay, I will agree it's a bit far. To me, it's not far to take photos and visit the offices. It is going a bridge too far to just stand there, dig in your heels and say, I'm not going anywhere until you give me a quote or until I meet with an attorney. Now, it might behoove Ann Taylor to make some type of general public statement, to give an interview that won't harm her case in any way. Maybe that would take some of the pressure off. After all, since the days of shows like Hard Copy came around, journalism has gone to another level. It's more in your face and give me a quote. I don't agree with reporters going too far, climbing into people's backyards and scaling walls and all of that. But I do agree with finding out the truth, and the public loves TMZ for a reason. As much as the public can dog out the press and the media and talk about fake news, people sure are clicking on TMZ and all these other places that perform the type of journalism that gets to the story. Now, I haven't seen any photos of Attorney Taylor's office or employees taken through the window. I've only seen Attorney Taylor and her team at the 1122 King Road house. I'm not sure where all these other photos are. Surely they would have been published by now. But what good does a gag order against the media do? Sometimes gag orders are used to attempt to get a fair trial. It's trying to prevent pre-trial publicity and prejudice a jury. But their use for this purpose is controversial, and sometimes these gag orders are abused. So it's up to a judge to weigh the harm or foul. After all, when a jury is selected, if it will be in this case, again, there will be a plethora of folks who still have never heard of the Idaho 4 crimes. Even those who have heard when they're going through the voir dire process, they can still be asked, no matter what you've heard in terms of pre-trial publicity, can you still set aside wherever your belief system lies to just look at all the evidence as we lay it out and make your decision based on that? Will the gag order stay in place until June, until Bryan's preliminary hearing, earlier or later? Is there a secret grand jury going on right now being convened in Bryan's case in order to indict him so that eventually he'll just go straight to a trial if he doesn't confess? And of course, for Kohberger to end up in a trial may take many, many moons. We know how slowly the wheels of justice unfortunately can turn. So we'll see. What do you think about the gag order? Do you agree with it or not? Is it too broad reaching or is it just right? Comment below. Romans 13:6-7. This is also why you pay taxes, for the authorities are God's servants who give their full time to governing. Give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Thanks for watching.